Hi and welcome to the Allocator. By now you would have heard a little bit about this software, but let's actually see what it can do. Let's assume that we're working with a couple, they're married and they have 3 young children. And in our discussions with Dave and Debbie, they mentioned that should something happen to Dave, they'd like to eliminate the mortgage, they'd like to cover final expenses, and they'd also like an amount set aside for any emergencies or to get rid of credit card debt, car leases, etc. And let's assume that Dave has $90,000 sitting in his superannuation. If we simply calculate that, but Debbie also needs an income to continue to come into the family to ensure that she's able to maintain her standard of living. Now let's assume that Dave's earning a reasonable income, say $200,000. Our analysis has determined that as long as Debbie is debt-free, she would still need $138,000 of income to continue to come into the family to ensure that they can maintain their standard of living, and she would like that income to continue until the youngest has finished his education. You'll notice now that the level of insurance required on Dave's life has increased to $2.8 million. But let's have a look at the outcome for this family if and when Dave actually does pass away. If we simply nominate Debbie as a sole beneficiary, yes, she'll be debt-free, but the balance will need to be invested into something. Now we've assumed a growth rate of 5%, but given that structuring, the best case scenario for this family is going to mean a tax liability over 10 years of $290,000. Now this is assuming that Debbie is not working. If she re-enters the workforce, that tax liability will actually increase. We could pay Debbie a death benefit pension and she would be slightly better off, but let's go back and do some more modelling. We know that the family needs $138,000. What if we were to split it 4 ways? What if we were to give Debbie $48,000 and each of the children $30,000, once again until they have finished their education? You'll notice that the sum insured has reduced quite dramatically. But let's once again have a look at the outcome. You can see that simply from an income and a taxation point of view, how much better off the family is going to be by using legislated benefits. In other words, death benefit pensions. But we still have this liability here. Now this could be made up of tax or it could be made up purely of Medicare. But let's see if we can get an even better result for this family. This is the current beneficiary allocation based on these income distributions. But if we use this feature here, now the family needed $138,000. The tax effective allocation feature is actually now going through 6.5 million iterations to determine the very best beneficiary allocation. And there it is there. You would have noticed that Maddie's allocation went from 15.8 to 16.6, and essentially what's happened is an amount of money has been taken away from Debbie and distributed to the 3 children. But the result for this family is now this outcome. And this is the power that the allocator brings to your business, because no longer do we need to use guesswork. We have the exact beneficiary allocation to determine the optimum outcome for your family. The benefits to your client are that we're actually using some science to determine the exact level of life insurance and the exact beneficiary allocation to achieve the optimum outcome. The benefits to you will be that the levels of life insurance will generally be higher and you'll be able to charge a fee for this structuring work. The other benefits to you will be that at the time of death, the only amount of money that will be released from the superannuation fund will be this amount here. This is the amount to terminate the relationship with the bank manager. The balance of the insurance and superannuation proceeds will be split between these 4 pension accounts. And these pension accounts will be managed by you on an ongoing basis as you continue to distribute tax-free income down to each of the beneficiaries to ensure that their lifestyle is maintained. That's a very quick overview of the Allocator. If you'd like to find out more information, just email me at info@theallocator.com.au.